Hey, good morning. Welcome back to another episode of The Simplicity of a Practical Jesus. I just wanted to check in with you guys and bring you a fresh word of encouragement. Today we're going to talk about facing the giant. The story that I take this from is when David was a young boy. He was about 17 years old, King David. He went up against the Philistine known as Goliath. This guy was like 9 foot tall, and he was from a tribe that was known for their giantism, and he was coming against the people of Israel, and the armies of Israel were frightened and were afraid of the giants. And nobody wanted to step out in faith and to accomplish the task at hand. Here comes David. He's 17 years old. He's bringing food to his brothers, and he sees what's going on, and he says, hey, this is not an impossible task because God can do all things, and he works through us. The significance of that is David knew who he was. He knew this because he had relationship with God. He spoke with him on a regular basis. He fellowshiped with him. He told him the things that were on his mind. He just, he was his friend. He was friends with God. So, when he went before the king and said, hey, you know what? I'll go out here and take care of this dude. No big deal. The king, represents the world that we live in, and they always have these ideas of all these hoops that we need to jump through, and, well, you got to protect yourself, and you got to think of you, and, there's a right way to do it and a wrong way to do it, and all of that is irrelevant because, David was not relying on his own strength, his own abilities. He was relying on his relationship with God and the abilities that God gave him in that relationship to come against the enemies of who he was, the enemies of God. So as he goes out to confront this Philistine who's 9 feet tall, the Philistine is making fun of him. He's like, oh, what, you sent this kid out here to do a man's job. You can't accomplish anything. And just really trying to get in David's head. But the beautiful thing about David knew who he was. He knew his relationship with God, and he knew that his abilities and the authority and the power that he had to overcome this enemy was in who God was and not who he was. So he even addresses Goliath and says, hey, you uncircumcised Philistine. And this represents the fact that he was not in covenant with the God that David served. Israelites back then, when they were in covenant with or in relationship with God, they would literally circumcise themselves. And this was a show of their covenant or their agreement with God, as God being their God and them being God's people. And this guy didn't have any of that. He didn't care. He didn't want a relationship with God. And basically what David was saying is, you have no relationship with God. I have every relationship with God, and therefore the favor is in my court. Goliath came against the Israelites with a sword and a shield, and David just said, hey, I come against you in the name and the power of God. And as he flung that rock came and hit him square dead in the forehead and killed him, knocked him down. And then David went over and took Goliath's sword and cut his head off, defeating the enemy. And that was a great victory for Israel in that day. The beautiful thing about this is, everything that happened in the past is an example for us to follow as we walk in the future. And when I come against problems in my life, whether it's, maybe you've lost your job, Maybe you don't have enough to pay your bills. Maybe you have all kinds of anxiety, and you know, you're just stressed out to the max. Maybe I don't know. Maybe somebody's coming against you at work. Maybe they've done something or said something that was very unfair, and they're coming against you. The beautiful thing about serving God and having a relationship with Him is that He becomes our all in all. So He levels the playing field, and we have favor with all the right people. He makes a way where there is no way. He gives us peace in our heart, understanding in our mind, according to the Word of God. He loves us. He wants the very best for us. And He desires to do the impossible in and through you. So what more could you possibly ask for in a relationship, especially a relationship with the God who knows all things? I mean, think about that. The God who created the grass in my yard is the same God that desires to have a relationship with me. And if He has enough intelligence to create the trees and the grass, how much more does He have the intelligence to help me to navigate through life? And the beautiful thing about it, it talks about in Proverbs, it says, the Word of God is a lamp unto our feet and a light unto our path. And this indicates that God desires to give us insight and understanding to overcome the things that would try to come against us in our journey of truth, as we seek to love God and love others. I mean, those are the two things that Jesus said that we needed to do: love God, love others. And in doing those things, everything else will be added to us. How beautiful is that? God seeks to give us and to do for us amazing things, and the only thing He asks of us, hey, love me, love others, and I'll do the rest. How beautiful is that? So if you're watching today and you know you're going through these times, just reach out to God and say, hey, you know what? I don't really understand all this, but I do believe that you can make a way where there is no way. I'm going to make you my source. Come into my heart. Help me to become the man or woman that you've desired me to be. Give me wisdom on how to navigate through the journey or the paths of life. Father, that I can give you all glory and honor and praise, and that you can do the impossible in and through me. Come on. How simple is that? So love you guys. It's great talking to you. Hope to see you guys soon. Have a great day. Talk to you soon. Bye.